Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Framerate is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.
This episode of Framerate is brought to you by Pond5, the world's stock media marketplace. If you're a media maker looking for video, photos, illustrations, music, sound effects, After Effects templates, or 3D models, check out Pond5. And for an exclusive 50 free stock media files, go to pond5.com/framerate.
Transmissions from the planet Tarboom. If our intelligence is correct, this could indicate the presence of a rebel base. We don't have much time. We must destroy the...
Commander Larkin.
Please excuse my lateness.
No matter. We've only just begun the briefing. Lord Vader, this is Commander Larkin. She will be overseeing the interrogation unit.
I look forward to working with you, Lord Vader.
You're beautiful.
Vader?
What? Destroying the rebel base will be a beautiful victory.
Go, go.
It's Framerate. Yes, it is. Welcome to Framerate, episode 108, the number of stitches in a baseball. I'm Tom Merritt.
Hey man, I'm Brian Brushwood, and that was a super old fake deleted scene from Star Wars, which I picked for a very particular reason, which we'll find out later on. But wait a minute, Tom, you're not alone there in the Twit Studios.
No, I am not. Father Robert Ballasar has joined us today. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Oh, it's great to be here.
It's good to have you. We got some movie draft discussions to be had.
It's not a discussion, it's a pronouncement.
A pronouncement will be forthcoming soon, later in the show. But yes, that delete. Is there anything funnier than watching Darth Vader look human?
I'll tell you what, that clip just gets even better and better. Look up Star Wars deleted scene 1977, because then it's like it just gets more and more awkward as it goes forward. I wish we had time to show more, but it's fantastic.
But we don't have time because we've got the big story to get to.
This just in, the big story.
Dish TV has caused quite a bit of controversy at the Consumer Electronics Show with their new Hopper DVR. Now, we've talked a lot about the Hopper on Framerate. That's the DVR that automatically skips commercials and automatically records primetime shows. It only works a day after. It doesn't skip them the same time you're watching them or within that same evening. But they're being sued over that feature. And they released at CES a Hopper that not only still skips the commercials, but also has Sling integrated into the DVR. Remember that Dish owns Sling. So now you can not only watch your skipped commercial versions of all the primetime shows, but you can watch them on your iPad and on your iPhone and any device that gets the Sling application.
Dude, it gets even better and better. What's the quote from Fight Club? It's only after we've lost everything that we're free to do anything. There's something about the fact that Dish is this scrappy third-place network who just doesn't give a rat's ass. Like, screw it. Let's just go for it, whatever it is. Let's take all the legal risks. Let's invite all the... Here's a nutty idea, they say. Let's actually give the consumers exactly what they want. The ability to play what they want, when they want, and skip all the commercials. What a crazy idea.
You know, the comedy here is that CBS in this move has made Dish a martyr.
We haven't actually mentioned the CBS thing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm jumping
ahead.
No,
that's all right. But the reason you're bringing up CBS is that CNET, which does the official Best of CES awards at CES, apparently, according to a post from Lindsay Turrentine just this morning, was going to give the Best of Show to the Hopper DVR with Sling. And at the last second, CBS stepped in and said, no, you will not. We are in a court case with them. They can't win Best of Show. And so their nomination was removed. Now, go ahead. That's what's causing the controversy.
Now I'm going to talk about it, which is Dish before this, it was a joke. It was the punchline for a bad joke. Now they seem innovative, and they seem like they're scaring one of the entrenched players in the market. So suddenly Dish has gone from an also-ran to everyone knows who Dish is again.
Yeah, no, it's got them a lot of press here. Charlie Ergen, who's the chairman and chairman of the board and former president and CEO of Dish, is credited by Peter Kafka in All Things D story with being the straw that stirs the drink here. That he's just Kafka suggests that maybe he's just trying to gain leverage. That he's trying to push this as far as possible so that he can get better deals on carriage fees. But I'm sure that the Dish is not happy with the carriage fees that broadcast networks like to force upon them.
Right, and you know, Dish is giving them another option, and even though a lot of the offerings are not great and a lot of the service isn't great, anytime that you get back in the news like this and you can sort of spark the hearts and minds and the imaginations of people who are looking at making a move, that's great.
I'll tell you what, I'm assuming I'm not alone in this, Tom, but our frustration with the business as usual and our desire to see everything shaken up has me in a place now where I don't care what I genuinely don't care what his motivation is or what his end game is. As long as he's setting fire to the industry, as long as he's burning the whole mother down, I'm happy. I want a whole earthquake. I want a natural disaster to go through this whole business.
It's kind of the Frank Sinatra effect. Like,
Go on.
There's stories at USA Today about how Dish is an awful place to work, and former employees have one piece of advice to current employees of Dish: quit. But you don't have to love the man to love his music, in Frank Sinatra's case, and you don't have to love Dish to love the Hopper.
That's good enough for me. Yeah, man. Look, I love the idea. And plus, we've talked about it before. You know, we saw this in retail with the Walmart effect. When somebody jumps ahead and fundamentally transforms the industry, everyone else is forced to follow. And so hopefully, even if you don't like Walmart, you have to like the fact that they saved bajillions of dollars of packaging and improved efficiency for supply chains for all of their competitors across the globe.
And as you mentioned, Father Robert, this whole sideshow, at least as far as cord cutting goes, it's a sideshow of CBS stomping on the Hopper, winning the best of CES. That just makes CBS look awful.
Right.
It makes the CNET editors look like hostages. It makes Dish look like the injured victim, and it makes CBS look like a big bully.
Well, it makes them look scared, and by making them look scared, it makes them look weak. People now realize, yeah, this studio is actually taking this as a big deal, and so they've made this drastic decision to squash coverage. You don't do that lightly, at least not if you're intelligent.
So we've seen a little bit of a response, kind of quiet from the CNET crowd, kind of breaking down like, well, here's what happened, here's what we're told, and here's the situation. How does CBS clean this up, Tom?
If I were CBS, looking at this, and apparently Ken from Chicago says Wall Street Journal picked up the story. I don't know if that's true or not, but as this gets bigger and bigger, they're going to get pushed closer and closer to wanting to do something about it. The best thing they could do is say, we admit we made a mistake. We should not have interfered in the coverage, and we're going to restore Dish's nomination. And at this point, because Lindsay Turrentine has posted, yeah, we were going to give them the Best of award. They need to give them the Best of award. Then I think you can satisfy the CEA saying, all right, they made good on it. Don't let it happen again. If they don't, I think CBS is in for a world of hurt. And if I were the Consumer Electronics Agency, I wouldn't want CNET. Sadly, I want CNET because I like those guys. I used to work with those guys to do Best of CES, but I wouldn't want CBS to have anything to do with Best of CES. And if they still own CNET next year, I wouldn't let them do it.
That's bunk. That's absolute bunk. There's only one way for CES to fix this, and that is tacos. Free tacos for everyone. That fixes everything, every time.
I thought ice cream fixed everything.
Yeah,
all right. Well, shall we move on to another big story?
Stop everything. It's another big story.
A research group called TDG has presented findings, according to Paid Content, that U.S. pay TV households have reached their peak. In fact, they reached their peak in 2011 at nearly 101 million, will decline to less than 95 million by 2017. Now, this doesn't mean that pay TV is dead. It doesn't even really mean that it's dying. It just means it's on the decline, you know? LP records still haven't died. They've declined quite a bit, but there's a vibrant community of people who like vinyl. And I'm not even saying that pay TV is nearing that at this point. But do you think they're right? Have we reached peak pay TV subscriptions?
Not only have we reached pay TV subscriptions, but I think this graph actually shows a linear decrease. It's going to slowly head down to 94.6. We haven't seen that in the past. When we've seen a technology replace, be it a cassette, be it the record, be it the CD, be it the VHS tape, it hasn't been a linear decline. It's been more of a logarithmic decline. As the adoption goes up for other alternatives, for cable cutters, as there are other options there for people who want their entertainment, it doesn't slowly cut off. It drops off precipitously. So I think it's going to actually happen before 2017 that we're going to get down to like the 70 or 80.
Brian, what do you think?
I don't know if it'll happen all at once because there's such an entrenched interest in keeping this stuff alive. And the problem is what we're probably going to see are more legal entrenchments for this. When you've got an industry that's on top, and you've seen this before, we talk about, horse cart buggy operators. And there was even union rules when recording started allowing people to play recorded soundtracks for Broadway musicals. There was unions that would fuss and say, well, you got to have all the performers there and still get paid and then get out. There's so much money in cable right now that it's hard for me to believe that that this thing is completely on its way out as fast as Father Robert is suggesting. So I actually do think it will be a little more linear like we're seeing here.
An elegant decline is what you say.
Sure, yeah. Let's call it elegant.
I agree. I think that what's going to happen with pay TV is that those of us who grew up on it are going to have a harder time letting go of it. And so we'll cord shave more often than cord cut as time goes on. Or we may even cord cut, but we'll probably cord cut in favor of a service over the internet that provides us something similar, right? What's the thing we're always talking about? A la carte. We want a la carte cable. I think that if I were coming out of college right now, and when I came out of college, I did not buy a cable TV subscription. What forced me into buying a cable TV subscription is I got a better job, I had a little more disposable income, and I wanted to watch CNN. I wanted to watch that Al Gore, George Bush election coverage. And then I realized, hey, I can get all these movie channels, et cetera, et cetera. If I'm coming out of college now, I don't think those pressures are there. I don't have to get CNN to follow coverage. I don't have to get a movie channel to see great movies on the internet. I think there's just an entirely different pattern for consumption being built, and that's what's going to erode this pay TV base.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's unfortunately, that's not, of course, the quickest way to see a transformation. You don't necessarily want your revolution to progress exactly with the age of the youngest demographic. But keep in mind, all these kids, pretty much everyone who's 18 years and younger has never experienced a world that they remember where they couldn't pretty much watch whatever they want when they wanted. And in as short as 5 more years, 10 more years, they are prime purchasing demographics. They are what all the advertising are going after, and we're already starting to see it with the popularity of YouTube growing and the ad dollars coming in. So I'd prefer it be faster, but whatevs, we'll see.
All right, let's take a quick break and thank our sponsor for today's show, Pond 5, the world's stock media marketplace, where you could download stock images of elephants, sound effects of motor cars, and create an entire movie about racing elephants that are
what?
Yeah.
That was my Vader slow what?
What? Yeah, they have, look at all those elephants. Look at that stock media baby elephant running. That's the cutest thing in the world. Oh my gosh. You can find pretty much anything you can imagine at Pond 5, and if you're a media creator, this is your playland, right? All the things you couldn't possibly you probably, okay, you can, but most of you can't take a trip to Kilimanjaro and shoot B-roll. You can find it here on Pond 5.
I actually thought of some other stuff that this is really useful for. I was working on a sizzle reel for a TV project that we were going to pitch, and it was just easier. Like we just needed B-roll of some crowd scenes because we were going to have words pop up and fake a bunch of stuff. But it's like, just even if you don't plan for your thing to be seen, now you do get the rights when you buy these stock media from Pond 5. You're able to put it in your movie or do whatever you want with it. But even if it's only going to be seen by a few people, the question is, do you want to walk out with your camera, or do you just want to go and grab the clip and then get something awesome like this? You can get high quality production to put together your sizzle reel or your pitch or your demo, whatever it is in there.
Yeah, and it's the industry leading rates. So in other words, you don't have to pay a ton to use these things, and they're royalty-free. So it's not like, oh, well, if you sell 1 million copies of your DVD, you got to give us more money. You buy it, you get the right to use it in most cases. And if you're an artist, you'll love Pond5 too. They're shaking up the stock agency business with an open marketplace. You set your price, you get 50% of the royalties for each and every sale. So the prices are unbeatable. Take your creativity to the next level or upload your own content and put it to work at the world's most artist-friendly marketplace for stock media. This month you can get 50 free stock media files at pond5.com/framerate. That's pond5.com/framerate. We thank Pond5 for their support of Framerate. And those of you who are wondering, a sizzle reel is like a little teaser trailer type of thing. It is not like a video of steak.
I'm
you know
getting
what?
hungry.
Depends. If you're going to do a show all about steak, then you need a sizzle reel that really sizzles. And
That is a different kind of
have
sizzle.
that B-roll.
Right.
That's true.
Steak porn. Let's see what's in the slipstream.
Can I just say, Tom, that was uber classy. The way you just sort of dropped steak porn, and then and what's in the slipstream?
You know what's in the stripstream? The stripstream.
Wow!
Freudian slip came off. Netflix has made a deal with Time Warner. That's right, Time Warner, the same Time Warner whose CEO, Jeff Books, was out there saying, it's like the Albanian army, et cetera, et cetera. And then later on, he said we'd be happy to cash their checks. Well, he's going to get a check, and he's going to be able to cash it. And it also means for us that Adventure Time, Turner Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, those kinds of shows will be coming to Netflix. So you must be psyched about this.
You have no idea how psyched I am because all of the shows mentioned, Aqua Teen Hunger Force, Regular Show, Adventure Time, are all shows that I, all caps with exclamation points, loved, but I just don't ever watch live. And the only time I barely catch, I might catch an Adventure Time if my kids are watching it. But outside of that, I don't watch live TV ever. And I was trying to get my brother hooked on Regular Show, and I couldn't find it. I had to look for bootleg clips on YouTube, and he fell in love with the show. I don't want to say how he ended up getting the episodes, but the fact that there's a legal way to do it now coming up in March on Netflix, totally stoked. Going to watch them all on repeat nonstop.
You and your Aqua Teen hunger strike or whatever it is.
You know, we were talking about the logarithmic decline of pay TV, and I think this is what's going to be behind it. When people realize that must-see TV is no longer must-see, that if I watch something a season late, it's still just as good. And if I have if I have Netflix, I can watch an entire season over a weekend and just catch the narrative unlike any other experience. I mean, that's what drives it.
Must someday have seen TV.
Exactly.
Also, remember, speaking of lawsuits and CBS, Aereo, still in court, but planning to roll out its TV service to 22 more cities by the end of 2013. Now, those who don't know, Aereo is the service that has micro antennas, so they receive an over-the-air broadcast on an antenna that you rent. It's very small, and then broadcast it just to you. And that's what they say makes it legal, is that they're not rebroadcasting. They're just giving you access to your own individual antenna so that you can get your broadcast channels over the internet, same way you would do with your own Sling box at home. And they're going to be rolling out in your hood, among others, 22 cities, including Austin, Texas.
Well, you know what's funny is the moment I read this, I was like, I wonder if Austin's on there. And I went down and I found there it is, Austin. And I was like, yes, now I can not get Aereo because I don't watch live TV ever for anything.
But
ever.
It includes DVR functionality, so you could take advantage of this.
Well, and I'll tell you, when I run into a show, because all the shows that I love and I watch week to week are all cable network shows, you know, Always Sunny in Philadelphia, The Walking Dead, Archer, you know, these are Sons of Anarchy. None of these are on network
That's why
television.
you won't watch Fringe. It's your prejudice against broadcast.
It's not, well, it's my prejudice against there being hundreds of episodes to get through. Maybe I will one of these days. Maybe I'll break my ankle and you'll be very happy about it. And I'll be all like,
I'm going to break your ankle.
Now,
That's a threat.
There is another angle to the story, and that is if you look at the page, look who's actually doing the coverage of this new rollout, and it's CNET.
Oh, yeah, I guess we could go that
So
route.
how long is it going to be before CBS comes down here and says, no, you
Well, they
can't
do it. This is a news story. They said news was okay. They just can't. They
oh
can't do a
my
review
gosh,
of it.
Padre, you're ruthless, man. You're picking a fight straight with CBS.
Let's go,
Wow.
Les.
Well, if you're wondering, hey, is it coming to my city, Tom? I don't want to wait and find your show notes and click the link. Here are the cities it's coming to. Because I did the same thing. I was like, is it coming to L.A.? No. But it is coming to Boston, Miami, Atlanta, Chicago, Dallas, Houston, Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Detroit, Denver, Minneapolis, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Tampa, Cleveland, Kansas City, Raleigh, Durham, Salt Lake City, Scott Johnson's getting it, Birmingham, Providence, Rhode Island, and Madison, Wisconsin. My brother's getting it. Actually,
now
everyone
backwards.
I know is getting it except for the Bay Area and Los Angeles. But, yeah, that's cool. So the membership is $8 a month or $80 a year, or you can do $1 a day and just pay on the days you want to watch it. That might be good for you, Brian, if there's like, oh, I think I'd like to watch this live event that is only happening right now.
Oh, my God. You know what? That's exactly right, because this could be my excuse. This could be my safety net to full-on cut the cord for the family, because then, you know, like last night, everyone's tweeting about the Golden Globes.
Yeah, right.
You know, I almost wanted to watch, but I was like, oh, I'd have to go to the whole other room. This would be one of those situations I'd throw $5 at it. Sure.
Totally.
You know what I like about this? How long before people start trading proxies? I've got service in D.C. Someone else has service in Madison. I want to watch something that's over there. There's going to be some enterprising third party who's going to figure out a way for us to exchange proxies.
People do that with sling boxes already.
All the time, right. So, yeah, this is more of the decline.
Now, you were at CES, Father Robert.
I was.
Lots of 4K TVs there. But one of the more interesting things to me was Sony promising to launch a 4K TV video distribution system sometime this summer, so that if you buy one of their 4K TVs, you won't have to rely on that loaner video player we talked about on a previous frame rate, which is just a big hard drive full of films. You'd actually have a service. Now, they're a little vague about what the service is. They will bring Ultra HD video, that's 4K video, to U.S. consumers to be able to enjoy native 4K content, such as feature-length movies from Sony Pictures, as well as other productions with stunning picture and sound. But they don't say, is that streaming? Is it a download service? Did you hear about this?
I did, and it sounds like it's going to have to be some sort of physical media, because downloading any sort of 4K content will take days. They're huge, huge files, unless you're going to compress them so much that it's not worthy of a 4K display.
Well, these guys are paying $25,000 for their 84-inch 4K TV, so maybe they're rolling some high-end.
For that price, I want someone to come to my
connection.
house with white gloves and deliver me a new hard drive every week.
And put it in.
That's right.
Put the discs in the player for me.
You guys have know that I've been kind of harping on the 4K displays because, I mean, first of all, the vast majority of movies out there aren't even available on 4K. They weren't shot on 4K. They'd have to be upsampled or you know, rescanned or whatever for the older films. When meanwhile, you know, there's unlimited content if they just push that you can hook these up to your computers. And I don't see, did you happen to see, did anybody hook these up to a computer running a video game at unbelievable 4K resolution, Father?
I saw one demo. It was an unplayable demo, so I didn't actually get to see it and see if it was a real deal.
Yeah.
It looked nice, but of course, they're not making console games or even PC games that take advantage of that kind of resolution.
Well,
maybe next year.
Yeah, correct. Well, and the nice thing is, though, with the PC games is that there are very, very small hacks, very small tweaks that you would have to do to instantly take all this existing back catalog of content and suddenly upscale it to this ridiculous 4K resolution. However, I wonder how many people behind the scenes already know this, but just don't feel like that would sell to a CES kind of crowd. I mean, so much of this feels like the tired motions through the old playbook that they already went through with HD.
Right, exactly. We saw this a few years back at CES when they were taking their existing catalogs and upsampling it into HD DVD so that people could have something to play on their new screens. And that was junk. I mean, it didn't look good. People could tell it was upsampled.
And that was the death of HD. That's why no one has an HD TV in their home now.
Okay, well, I'm not saying it's not going to work. I'm just saying that I think that this, you're going to have decreasing benefits. You're going to have decreasing returns as you continue to do this. And we already kind of saw it in the move from let's say Laserdisc to, HD. It was so difficult to kind of explain to people. And as we've talked about before, I bet half of our grandparents think they're watching HD because it's widescreen when they're watching 480i. And so with that being the case, I just don't know that selling this way is going to be as effective as figuring out a new benefit for it.
Well, and while the price of bandwidth needed to do this catches up, you may need alternate ways to get 4K delivered that are more convenient than a white-gloved person arriving at your house. Eutelsat in Europe began broadcast on January 8th over satellite, sending 3840 by 2160 50 frames per second signals in MPEG-4 Doesn't say what the content is, and they do stress that it's an experimental broadcast at this point. But that promises to become an actual service you could get in 4K. So maybe it will be led. Maybe that's how those pay TV companies are going to be able to stay ahead of that decline, is to say, hey, we'll be able to deliver you 4K over satellite and over your cable, and you won't have to worry about bandwidth issues.
Well, yes and no, because the very first time someone sees uncompressed, or at least not that highly compressed video, they're not gonna look at pay TV the same way anymore, because they don't realize how compressed are the streams that we get over cable right now.
Well, that's been the complaint about DirecTV.
That's been the complaint. But imagine people with 4K TVs get used to having really high quality content delivered to them by whatever means, physical means, guys with the white gloves, laser coming down from the heavens. They're not going to be able to look back at pay cable TV the same way. They're not going to want that highly compressed, not really HD signal anymore if they've got this other option, and if they've already weaned themselves off the must have it now, must see it now TV.
That goes back to Brian's thing about the people who have widescreen and think it's HD, even though it's not.
Right.
That's the other side of that equation. But you're not wrong. Real quickly, we've talked about Genie before. That's a search engine that is meant to be included in video services to allow you to search for stuff to watch based on your mood. In fact, in this next web article, they give a really good example. You just say, because it's going to have speech recognition as well, I want to watch something funny about an obnoxious boss. Although I'm not sure that that's the example I'd use. Is there anything witty and romantic on TV tonight?
See, this is
and it would
halfway.
find it based on that description. Like, oh, here's a bunch of movies that fit that description.
See, I think that this is halfway there. I think what we, just like the Music Genome Project is an integral part of Pandora, it's really the suggestion engine that makes it worthwhile. So I think that the fact that it's cataloging everything, it's still putting it on you to know how to vocalize what it is you're looking for. I got to think that it's going to be content curation services where, closer to like the Netflix recommendation engine that's going to make this take off.
It does semantic search, but they, like I say, things have to be tagged right. Microsoft and Belgacom have been on board, but now they've got a bunch of other people. Vudu, Time Warner, the biggest name among here. Nordic pay TV provider Seymour, Spain's Prisa TV, Bouygues Telecom in France, Singtel, MultiChoice in South Africa. There's a big list of big names here. Of people that are going to bring this in. So it will be interesting to see how well this works. But I just want to note that it's getting some more significant expansion now.
You know, the funny thing is that this was actually a hot topic during the CES timeframe at the New Media Expo. In fact, there was a speaker who specifically talked about finding ways to better catalog video. I believe his name was Leo Laporte.
He's a French guy, yeah. I saw that guy. All right, we've got a couple of tube tops to get to. Ultraviolet is the DRM system that promises to get out of your way. Like, we'll be DRM, but you'll get to watch your stuff anywhere you want on anything. It's not quite to that promise yet, but they are doing an interesting thing by bundling free movies with smart TVs and Blu-ray players. So if you buy a smart TV from Sony, Samsung, Philips, Toshiba, Vizio, LG, or Panasonic, and you buy the model that comes with this, you will get the ability to get up to 10 free ultraviolet movies of your choosing from Lionsgate, Paramount, Sony Pictures, Fox, Universal, or Warner.
I'll tell you what, this is all win. Now, the only downside to this is I suspect very few people are going to bother, because anytime you bundle a product with a coupon to get a thing for down the road, even though we have now shrunk the gap between the promise and the execution to as low as, seriously, just go to the website, plug in the coupon and pick 10 movies. I got to think less than 10% of people will do it. However, this is pure win for these guys, because my guess is that it doesn't cost them hardly anything out of pocket to get the licenses for it, that it costs them no physical distribution. They don't have to bundle discs, and they don't have to try to guess what it is people want. They let them go out and pick it for themselves. I think this is a win for the ultraviolet standard, and I think it's a win for consumers, even though virtually nobody will take advantage of it.
Now, it depends on which format you pick, how it works. Cinema Now, Flixster, Nook, Vudu all work with ultraviolet, but some of them require you to install stuff. Some of them require you to have apps. I mean, with the smart TV, you're going to already have the app there. That's how you're going to use these things. But then when you want to go access it later, Do you have a compatible system? Do you want to install the software to watch it? Those become significant questions.
I hope this is the start of a major education campaign for Ultraviolet, because they were at CES. In fact, they were in the grand lobby. They were right behind the Samsung booth, which had a crazy amount of traffic, and there was nobody going to the Ultraviolet reps. Nobody wanted to know about it, or nobody knew about it. Nobody was interested enough in it to actually go into the booth, and they were handing out free Ultraviolet movies. So I think there's this general meh in the public of, oh, another format, another distribution, I don't want it, mine works just fine.
Yeah, they don't want to do something to get
else. Right.
You know, that's the lie of BitTorrent is undermining our sales, is that there's only a few people who will go to the trouble to seek out BitTorrent. They have to be really motivated. They have to be your biggest fans. They have to be the people who actually spend a lot of money on your stuff to go to the trouble to pirate stuff. So if you want to do this, you have to make it extraordinarily easy. They're kind of half getting it by saying, hey, we'll give you some free movies. But I think what they're realizing is free doesn't mean you'll take it. Always. Yeah. And it'll be interesting to see how much these do get cashed in on. Also, Apple added German WatchEver to Apple TVs in Germany so that you can use that service. It's sort of similar to Hulu, costs you €9 a month. And includes the ability to choose between a German dubbed version of international movies or the original. It's an example of the regionalization of the Apple TV, how they're tailoring the apps on there to the particular markets. That belies the fact that this is just a hobby. I mean, why would they go to the trouble of striking a German-specific deal with WatchEver to add it to that box?
Well, it's like they're testing over at the fringes. I mean, it's like Apple.
We have a German in the audience, Brian. Be careful about calling it the fringes, all right?
Okay, sorry. What I'm saying is Apple's in a weird position because they
actually said WatchEver.
Yeah. Well, we have a German in the audience who lives in Tokyo. So talk about international.
Okay, so he's not going to be able to take advantage of this. True.
We have a guy who drinks German beer. That's all I really need for this.
You have lots of guys here that drink German beer.
All right, look, let's just move on to Film Film.
Zack Snyder, according to Wired, will be making a Star Wars film based on Seven Samurai. This is extraordinarily intriguing for two reasons. One, Seven Samurai, as any self-respecting Star Wars fan knows, was an inspiration for Star Wars to George Lucas. And two, it's not going to be a sequel. It's just going to be a standalone thing about Jedi that's kind of separate from the main storyline altogether. Is that what Disney's going to be doing?
Dude, okay, now keep in mind, it wasn't Seven Samurai that Star Wars was based on. It was The Hidden Fortress, which was another Kurosawa
Actually,
film.
It was Hidden Fortress and Seven Samurai and The Great Escape. And I mean, there's like 12 to 14 different movies that Lucas says he stole from here and there, dogfights from war movies, etc.
Right.
There are parts of Seven Samurai that Lucas says he was inspired by. But you're right about The Hidden Fortress, because that's where R2-D2 and C-3PO came from.
Right, correct. And the whole like being in the enemy, dressing up as, anyway. But the fact that there's something like this, and this story is really a great, iconic standalone story that belongs in the Star Wars universe because it's so adaptable. The Magnificent Seven was a straight up homage to it. The Three Amigos is Seven Samurai.
-4.
Stephen King's Wolves of the Kala, the fifth Dark Tower book, is straight up Seven Samurai, the Magnificent Seven. It's a template onto which you could just put a strong base hit. All you need is a few likable, rugged characters, and the story tells itself. And setting it in the Star Wars universe, I think, will be fantastic. Zack Snyder's kind of hit and miss. I don't know what to expect from Man of Steel, but he's good enough that I'm 100% on board for this. And it's not a story where they're going to feel the need to throw Darth Vader in our face again or remind us of who Han and Luke and Leia was. I'm so ready for new crap in the Star Wars universe. So this gets a huge thumbs up from me.
I would almost 100% agree with you, Brian. I am all ready for new, but not crap in the Star Wars universe.
I want crap. I want crap. Disney did not buy the Star Wars movies. Disney bought the Star Wars universe, and it is expansive. If you've ever read any of the fiction that has been created over the last 2 decades, it's out there, and I mean, and
Oh,
there are some great stories that they could get into.
Yeah.
Hang on. Trusted source and new employee of One Brian Brushwood, Brant Gatawag Hughes, says that Snyder's rep said these reports are false. So we should point out this is a breaking story, and we'll wait to find out if it's true or not. But right now, big old fingers crossed to see if that's the case. Because I know previously he said he didn't have anything to do with this. So the fact that this
and the Wired
story,
story, remember, this is coming from Wired, and they generally don't print stuff unless they've got some good gumption behind it. But Laura Hudson does show a note saying Zack Snyder's representative was added to this story and says that it's not, and casts doubt upon it. According to the update.
I'll tell you what, man, if they feel like printing themselves $1 billion, that's a good copying the Magnificent 7/7 Samurai is a good way to do it.
Hollywood Reporter saying, while he is super flattered because he's a huge fan, Zack is not involved in any way with the new Star Wars. With the new Star Wars, but not a new or any.
That's true.
Wow.
Here, we can't overparse this one. Redbox Instant by Verizon, the Redbox streaming service, thought of as a competitor to Netflix, will launch by the end of the first quarter, according to the CEO of Redbox Instant by Verizon at a CES 2013 breakfast. Can't parse that any closer.
I'll parse it. He said by the end of the first quarter. He didn't say what year.
That's true. But you know what else we'll get by the end of the first quarter?
What is that?
New Game of Thrones, March 31st, by the skin of its raven.
Can we take a look at the visuals on this thing? We could show it in context.
Yeah, because there's a new trailer here, and they're trying to play on the winter is coming theme, right? So they've got this raven flying first through what presumably is Westeros, and then as it continues to fly, it shows up and it starts to look like the T-Mobile commercial.
Yes, it does.
He's like,
more 4G
now I'm
anywhere.
in Chicago, and now I'm in the Bay Area, and now I'm in New York.
I really had this rubbed me the wrong way. And I understand what they're trying to say is, winter is coming, like you pointed out. But it's like, if there's one thing Game of Thrones has been extraordinarily good at, is creating its own consistent world to take you out of ours. And I'm some part of me is offended that they would even show skyscrapers, modern skyscrapers in there. I don't know why.
It was jarring when I watched it for the first time, especially because it says newest Game of Thrones trailer is surreal and foreboding. I was like, ooh, I can't wait for this. And then I fire it up and I'm like, wait, are those skies? What? Yeah. There's a raven flying through. Oh, I get it. He's coming to our land because HBO's got.
But look, regardless of whether it was a bad idea or not, these are certainly not the thoughts they want their fans to be having. They don't want their fans going like, "What? Wait, is it saying like, is there a crossover to real life or something?
What
like,
is it trying to tell me?"
Yeah.
But you know what? We can't judge a. You can judge a book by.
I will do that. Yes,
you can. But we probably should. That doesn't mean that the series is going to suddenly be bad or have skyscrapers.
No. Merit to George R.R. Martin. You've jumped the shark. Go ahead and put that on the newspapers.
Oh, jeez. All right. All My Children, One Life to Live, both went off the air more than 40 years on the air, 11,000 episodes. You and I may not be fans of soap operas, but a lot of people were very sad to see this go. According to Deadline, the Online Network is a new network that plans to launch and will bring the show's creator, Agnes Nixon, to bring All My Children and One Life to Live back into production as an online-only show.
Here's the best part about this, Tom. As best I could tell, they won't even have to cut their budget because these shows, of course, thrived on taking a time slot that was relatively unoccupied, very poorly viewed, and they just made them as cheap as they could, as fast as they could. In many ways, they were YouTube before YouTube. It was about story, and you didn't so much worry about the quality of the acting or the videography or any of that stuff. You just kept throwing the story up there and saw what sticked. And if something didn't pan out and people didn't like it, you suddenly massively changed the story with these long meandering narratives. This thing's made to go on and exist in the cloud from now on.
Just one word: amnesia. If they have any plot lines with amnesia, I will cut someone.
Evil twin. Gotta have an evil
yes.
twin, too.
Yes.
Yeah, I think this is an interesting sign. We'll see how successful it ends up being. But all of the online video has been aimed young up until now. And bringing soap operas online says, we realize that it's not just young, like hipsters that have internet access and want to watch online video. There may be some folks who want to sit down in the middle of the day and watch their stories who have internet access and online video. So that's a big old signpost on the road to this video revolution, don't you think?
Well, those are the people we need to win over. It's not just your elite highfalutin techno wizards across the world. It's your average everyday. It's our grandparents. It's our parents that need to think it's normal to watch television on a computer if we're going to have any kind of revolution.
But that doesn't mean that we can't get excited that 14 new episodes of Arrested Development are coming this May. They haven't given us an actual date, but the official Twitter account from Netflix said, yeah, coming in May.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see how all of the rumors we'd heard up until now are finally being borne out. For example, the fact that none of the episodes have all of the characters in at the same time. The only person who's in all of the episodes is Michael Scott. Wait, no, I'm thinking of the wrong Michael Bluth. It's a weird, massive crossover.
George Michael Scott.
It's crazy.
With skyscrapers.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, Jason Bateman's character
Yes.
will be the only one in all of these. And they say very, very pointedly, this is a run-up to making a movie. If we
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Which was one of the other rumors that we had heard before as well. And, Justin Robert Young and I spent like a half hour arguing about whether it was smarter to try to release these week over week to maintain Netflix position in the conversations for over a month or release it all at once. And this sort of put that entire debate to rest by saying there's no set order to watch these in. Like we'll set up an order for you, but you can watch these in whatever order you want, and you're going to get a different experience depending on how you do it.
See, I thought the two of you would be even more excited about this because Netflix bet big on these original programming, and they won big. And that's why they're continuing to reinvest. Doesn't that validate the concept?
This is still part of the first round.
It is, but I mean, the fact that they're
concept isn't. Well, they're not expanding it.
Well, they're confirming new episodes.
I think maybe they just
10,
had.
right?
Maybe they were like, oh, the budget will allow a few more.
Okay.
I don't know.
Why do you got to rain on my parade?
No, I don't mean to rain
I
on your
am
parade.
that excited. Don't worry about it.
Hulu's
Padre.
raining
I'm
on the
there for
parade
it.
though, because Hulu's like. Arrested Development. Oh, how's your one original series? I know you got House of Cards. Oh, there's 2. Oh, you want to count Lilyhammer? There's 3. We got 25 original and exclusive series came out over the last 2 years from Hulu. And during 2013's late summer, they will start adding new original titles to the catalog, including Behind the Mask, an animated series, The Awesomes. Oh, I'm sorry, The Awesomes is the animated series. Behind the Mask is a docuseries, and a comedic thriller called The Wrong Mans, which is a co-production with the BBC. Also this month, French cop thriller Braqueux, Mother Up, featuring Ava Longoria, British comedies Pram, Face, and Fresh Meat, as well as the 2nd and 4th seasons of an Israeli series, Prisoners of War, which is the basis for the Homeland series on Showtime, and reality drama The Only Way is Essex.
Dude, all of this is good news. And it's like you don't have to like any of the programs. All you have to know is that people who are in a position to shape things are continuing to bet on online, and that's good news for all of us.
All right, that is it for the Flim Flam stuff you can watch. Let's get into the reason we're here. The winter movie draft.
My heart hurts.
Oh, your heart hurts. I spent all that money on The Hobbit, and I'm losing. I'm sorry to that one guy who hates this portion of the show. Just fast forward. But look, it's coming down to the wire here. And there's 2 races to watch. One, of course, is whether Brian Brushwood is going to keep ahead of Scott Johnson, who is hot on his heels. We have 1 week left. Is that right?
Yeah, 8 days from today. On Tuesday, the 22nd is when it's all over.
Wow. And then the other race is to see if Father Robert here can catch my ass. I'm in 3rd place with $447 million. I'm not going to catch Scott Johnson. Sadly, The Hobbit is not going to catch Les Miserables at this point. But Father Robert, you might catch me.
3rd place is the only race that really matters. Let me tell you what, when we started this draft, I said, I want 3rd. I don't care about anything else but 3rd.
I don't think you'll catch me, but Django Unchained goes into wide release this weekend, and you've got it.
That's right.
And The Hobbit's not making any more money anymore. It's stalling out at about 280.
Wait, was Django Unchained in limited release up until now?
Yep.
Oh, my gosh. That could be huge. And if it's got all that buzz behind it, I'll tell you, just a week ago, I was convinced that I was totally out of it because I was watching Scott just barrel forward, just all the momentum with Les Mis. And, you know, Lincoln was trying to scrabble and keep in there as best it could. And then I woke up one morning and then Lincoln, 12 Oscar nominations, the winningest, most nominated of all the Oscar noms. Of course, you know, it saw a 47% increase. Now I'm back in the game and I'm still losing every single day. Scott is getting closer. But the question is it, you know, and today's going to be a big indicator. If today on Monday, as we record this, if he only takes $500,000 away from me, I think I'm sitting pretty through the rest of this thing.
If Lincoln is your generator right now, if that didn't have the Oscar buzz that it has, I think he could catch you. But the fact that he has to make up $8 million in 8 days on you, I just don't think he could do it. I think it's going to be a nail biter, but I don't think he'll do it.
We'll see, man. I won't even make a stake bet one way or the other. I have no idea, but this is the most exciting because not only on the line, if I do win, I'll be the first double winner and I'll be the first to win a summer and a winter as well. As Justin has proclaimed me, I would become the king of all seasons. So we'll find out a week from now.
Brian, does that hurt? How do you do that? Wait, I'm sorry. Wait.
The knife in your back? What? I don't know what you're talking about.
All right, let's move along to what we're watching.
What we're watching.
I've been watching myself unpack boxes quite a bit, which means I'm still watching a lot of House Hunters on HGTV because my mind just turns off when I sit down. Eileen's been watching Doctor Who, so I've been watching a lot of old Doctor Who's with her. And I'm still enjoying Top Chef season 11 and 10, whatever it is, from Seattle. Some good chefs on there. In fact, some of them even have restaurants near where I live. I can't afford to eat at them because I'm, you know, got to get these boxes unpacked. But I haven't really been watching that much. What about you, Brian?
No, same thing. I've been super busy. I started touring again, and of course, we're launching all this other stuff with scamstuff.com. We had fulfillment, and after the break, it was finally like, I got to get to work. I did squeeze in enough time to check out a couple of episodes of season 2 of The Increasingly Poor Decisions of Todd Margaret, and as much as I loved the first season, second season is just feeling a bit over the top for me. Now, granted, the first season was over the top to begin with, but it just seduced me to where I didn't realize it. And I don't know if it's because I took a break and then I'm coming back, but the first 2 episodes in season 2, it's like I'm not believing any of it. So we'll see. I don't know.
They become the increasingly unbelievable decisions rather than just poor?
Could be. Maybe that's exactly it.
What about you, Father Robert? You got stuff?
Yeah, you know, CES really took up a lot of my time, but the day after CES, when I was really worried about the con funk just infecting and destroying me, I found myself just watching nothing, 24 hours of solid TV. And that included every episode of Archer from season 1 and 2. I had to rehash that. I had to rehash. No, I've been on the Archer train for a long time, but I just forgotten how good those episodes are. Yeah. And Adventure Time. I have now watched every episode of Adventure Time. And
I'll tell you what, if you like Adventure Time, give Regular Show a try. Regular Show is a little more adult. It's a little, if Adventure Time is, you know, perfect 13-year-old humor that appeals to adults, Regular Show is like 17, 18-year-old humor that appeals to adults.
Done, and done.
Let's see what's in the feedback section.
Now it's time for feedback with Brian and Tom on Frame Rate. Oh, yeah.
But not Brian Brushwood, from Trona, California, says, I really was enjoying H+ on YouTube, but the annoyance of keeping track of which episode I've already seen, coupled with the mess it makes of my subscribed video stream, though Geek and Sundry is worse, makes me hate YouTube's model for watching shows. I don't blame the channels. They're using the tools they have the way they're meant to be used. I blame YouTube for treating channels as though all of the content in them is equally valuable. I also blame them for not telling me whether or not I've watched a video.
See, I don't think that's true. I think it does tell you which ones you've watched as you go through.
It's not very elegant, though.
And also, if you're going to pick on anyone, I think H+ should be the last one you pick on because all of the episodes are just the show H+. Whereas, like, you know, even on Scam School, I've started to post Q&A things. And, of course, you know, if you have the Film Riots thing, you know, Film Riot Mondays are very different from Film Riot Thursdays. But H+ is always another chapter of that story advancing the show.
I've had issues with and YouTube's different on different screens too, right? But I sometimes, I'm like, YouTube was built to browse, not to, I want to watch this. And so it does, and we get people complaining about it for Sword and Laser on Geek and Sundry. Like, well, if I want to just watch Sword and Laser, it's harder to find just those episodes because it's built to browse your entire channel. And so you have to sort through. And I think that's what he's saying is when he goes to the H+ page, it's kind of it's harder to find what he wants. Not that it isn't there, but it's not meant for that kind of usage yet. So YouTube, I think YouTube's in the process of adapting.
Well, and we recently
some work to do.
We recently made some changes here at the Twit Network as well. I think just in the last week, we've broken out a bunch of the shows to their own YouTube channels. So if do we have youtube.com/framerate yet, Jason?
Had my mic away from me. I believe so. Let me check that out and be for certain that that's the address.
All right. Meanwhile, let's go on over to Robert, who says, I just had to let you know that disc that was shown was not a laser disc. He's talking about our pre-roll video of an old CES coverage. And we implied that it was a laser disc, but he says, no, it was a CED. This was a competing format from RCA, and it worked by inserting an entire cartridge. It would then take out the disc and play it with a needle, like a record player. And then when you were done, you'd have to stick the cartridge back in, and the disc would get inserted into the cartridge, and you pull the whole thing out again.
That's the part that shocked me, a physical needle for transmitting video. That's
actually one of the first video recorders ever invented, was they figured out how to encode video information onto a vinyl disc. Well, I don't know if it was vinyl, but it was onto a disc.
Oh, it's youtube.com/twit framerate.
Right.
Yeah. So give us a subscribe over there. That'd be awesome.
O.C. Alexander says, first of all, congratulations to Brian and his wife on the recent birth of their daughter. And okay, I didn't win the Chat Realm movie draft by myself. Eddie W. and I are tied and will probably win on the strength of our last movie selection, Django Unchained. No one else can catch us by the January 21st official end date. I promise to wear my share of the crown with dignity and maximum no scam. On the other hand, I still cannot clearly project a winner in the two-way race between Brian and Scott. Hot diggity, this one is coming down to the wire. The Oscar nominations seem to be giving an extra kick to both Lincoln and Les Mis, but I don't know who this might help the most. Both Tom and Father Robert are totally out of the race. Sorry, guys.
Great.
The only remaining wild card is the late wide release of Zero Dark 40, which
I think it's
will
Zero Dark 30.
nudge Justin out of last place ahead of Sarah Lane. This is going to be fun to watch. No, he's absolutely right. This is going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, right on. And I believe we got one more saying thank you for our recommendations. This comes from Scott in Des Moines. He says, I watched your show since the beginning and enjoyed quite a few of your recommendations. Game of Thrones, Archer, Breaking Bad, and most recently Fringe. And he talks about his Fringe experience. I'm sorry we don't quite have enough time to get through it. But he says, so there you have it. We certainly do live in interesting and complicated times. It only took Netflix, Amazon Instant, iTunes, Hulu Plus, but I did it. The content is out there. It's just a matter of piecing it all together and having access to the devices to play it. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, he went through the same experience I did, which was struggling through that first season, but then showing how the story really matures and really enjoying it. So I haven't watched Friday's Fringe yet. And I'm saving that up on the DVR. I can't wait to get to it. Thanks for writing in, Scott. And Father Robert, thank you for hanging out. It was kind of a last-minute request on our part, so I'm glad you're able to do it.
Well, this is what I do. I generally hang around the brick house and just wait for people to ask me to come on their shows.
You're like a day laborer hanging out around Home Depot.
That's actually how all the hosts are
Anyone need some insight?
There's just a big stable of hosts in the back here, and you just sort of pick them up off the bench.
Those
hey,
2 days I missed that first week of January, they just didn't pick me.
That's right.
They're like, you're not for Tech News today. Sorry. Well, Brian Brushwood, thank you as always.
Hey, man, dude, it's awesome to see you back in studio. You're going to be back like once a month or so? How often?
Well, I don't know if I'll be in on Mondays once a month. I am coming up here once a month. I think I'm probably going to fly after Frame Rate next time to see how that works. Then we'll see how the flying schedule versus the other schedules work. But yeah, I will be in studio for some shows sometimes. So it's cool.
Well, that's good. I look forward to your new Southern California institution once you get your studio all up.
I thought you were going to say my Southern California accent.
Yes, because I'm tired of this Northern California drawl that ain't here from
Yankee Californian.
Yeah.
Just say dude a lot.
Is Fresno like the California Mason-Dixon line?
Yeah. Coalinga. That's the cutoff right there. You can find us at twit.tv/FR. You can email us at framerate@twit.tv. And you can find us live, whether I'm in Los Angeles or Petaluma. It doesn't matter. We're on around 3:30 p.m. Pacific time, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time every Monday, right here at live.twit.tv. See you next time. Your skyscrapers.
A weird 3-9 club.
Excuse me.
Hey, man, that was a lot of fun. That was a good episode. Thanks for joining us, Father Robert.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
always
that was
a
great.
pleasure.
That
Are you
was
kidding
awesome.
me? Like 2 of my favorite Twit hosts.
Aw.
Just don't tell Justin.
All of the
Right.
others are also yours.
I was like, wait a minute, but there's 3 of us with Jason there.
Oh, burn.
It's okay. I'm his favorite TD.
Yeah,
so.
Right. See, he's got another category altogether.
Yeah.
Now, Brian, you got to come to CES next year. It was a lot of fun. Maybe the coverage wasn't as great, but I know how to get into all the parties.
I'll tell you what, man. I had a great time 2 years ago when I came down. I got to help cover it. But of course, Twit has since filled out their ranks with real journalists, so there hasn't been an excuse to have me back. But maybe I'll come just for fun next year.
Come for funsies. And seriously, I have it all mapped out. Every night there's at least one just great party, which also means food and free stuff. And yeah, I've got it unlocked.
Right on, man. Well, cool. Well, all right. Well, I'll check you guys later on. My family just got back from the doctor's office, so I'm going to check you guys later.
All right, before you go, there's that.
Nope, that's not it. That's not it.
And then there's that.
Yes, they're very close.
Okay.
They are very close.
All right.
And in fact, here, actually, put split screen up. Hold on, let me get the. Which way is he facing? Yeah. There we go. Shockingly close.
Hey, yo, stop.
Hold that.
Scam, baby.
Oh my gosh, that's ridiculous.
Amazing. All right, guys, I'll see you later.
Bye.
Adios.